the session, is there anything anybody wants to say right now before we start with the session, before we come into that zone where we are learning and teaching each other? So before that, is there anything that anybody over here in the session, whosoever is here, wants to say or speak something? So please, you're most welcome. Is there any challenge that they're facing as far as their grief is concerned? So if there is any, please speak and come up. Yes, Vaishali.
Hello, Sharuji.
Ji,
I
ji.
just have a quick question. Nothing
Yes.
regarding what we're talking about. It's just when I'm reading,
Mhm.
there is so many times we say soul is free of space, right? And free of time. The free of time, that part I understand. What do we exactly mean by free of space?
Space is,
Yeah.
yeah, so space is right now our body is taking up a space. We are sitting here. I'm taking this space, right? I'm taking this space here because space is what? It's an ether. It's air, air element. So I am sitting here. I'm taking this space. So when we talk about soul, soul doesn't have or doesn't require any space. It does not, you will not be able to see the soul sitting here. The soul doesn't need any space or time. So it doesn't require that. So it doesn't require any space as such. It is just free of all the space and the time, everything. It's beyond that.
Okay, so that's all it means, the bodily
Yes, yes,
occupation. Okay.
yes, yes.
There's no other meaning to it, right?
No, no, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vaishali. Thank you. Huh. Okay, so I'm going to start the session now. There is going to be a guided meditation uh, which will help you cope up with your grief. And it's going to be a very powerful guided meditation session. But before that, there are certain things that I want to say because there is so much happening today in the world, in the universe, and there is so much of pain and suffering that is happening today. I would say every second house that we encounter has lost someone or is on the verge of losing a loved one. So this session is just an attempt from my side, which is being inspired by the angels, um, to give comfort to the people who are grieving, to the to give a little bit of solace to the ones who are going through so much in their lives today. So when I talk about grief, I am not restricting myself to just the grief of losing someone or losing a loved one, but it can be a grief because probably you're having a, a broken marriage, a broken relationship. Maybe you are going through a miscarriage or you have gone through miscarriage in the past, maybe an abortion. Maybe you've lost a pet. Maybe you lost a job. Maybe you have lost a friendship. And of course, maybe you have lost a loved one. So this session is going to give you, hopefully, a little bit of comfort to you. But before that, there are certain things that I want to clarify about grief. There are certain myths that are attached to grief, which I want that you should just clarify those myths, the myths which have to be busted. So first and foremost, what is basically the grief? When we talk about grief, grief is nothing but it is a response to loss, any kind of loss. It's an emotional suffering that we go through or that we feel when somebody or someone we are attached to, we lose that person or is being taken away from us. So when these things happen, we experience different kind of emotions. For example, we might experience guilt, we might experience shame, anger, sadness, depression. All these emotions sometimes we feel when we are grieving or when we are in the process of grief. So there is basically a stage we talk about this stage, there is a stage that we go through, the stages, different stages of the grief that we go through. I'm not saying that it is going to be in a sequential form the way I am telling you, but yes, out of these 5 stages of grief, probably you might be facing 2 or maybe 3 or maybe 4, maybe all. So I'm going to tell you about the stages of grief. So the first stage of grief is always like, we are always in a denial mode. We are always in a denial. We are constantly asking this question, is this can't be happening to me. This can't happen to me. You might have faced at one point of your time when you are denying the absence of somebody. You feel that no, this cannot happen to me, because we as social beings, we always have attached our happiness to the presence of a particular person or a particular group. And when that person goes away, or when that thing or the being goes away from our lives, we are not able to take that in our stride. Because with that attachment that we have from with that person to our happiness is completely gone, and we are not able to understand this, we are not able to accept that. So we keep asking questions that, this can't be happening to me. How can this happen to me? No, this is not right. After the denial thing, the second stage is the anger that we go through. In this stage, we always have somebody to blame. We keep blaming the other person, or we keep blaming ourselves for the things. We ask questions like, why is this happening? Why? Why is this happening to me? Why am I the person who has to go through this? Why? So when, my dad was going, he was on the deathbed, and I was just seeing his pulses diminishing on the monitor. So at that time, my brother had this feeling that, Sharoo, I could have done something more. There was so much of guilt and anger in him. Similarly, when my uncle passed away 6 months back, his son, he was crying, and he was saying that I could have really done something for him, something more. Probably this was not enough. I could have done something. Why this happened to me? Why was I the one who had to go through this? Why was he taken away from me? So these are the questions generally people have in their mind, because they are so angry with with everything, whatever is happening around them, and they cannot take that. They are not able to. The third stage, when we talk about grief, is when you start bargaining. When we talk about bargaining is like, you might have seen people, they sit in front of the idols, the gods and the goddesses, and then they say that, please take me instead of that person. I want him to live. I want her to live. Please take me instead of that person. Or sometimes they say that, please bring that person back. I will in return give this to you. I remember when my nephew, when he was just 10 days old, and I lost my nephew. So I remember at that time I was not into meditation, and I was not aware of all these things. So I went straight to the temple. I went there and I started crying and howling. And I started telling, Lord Shiva, I was there in front of Lord Shiva. I started saying, please bring him back. Please, for his parents' sake. Please. So I started requesting. So I started bargaining that if you will bring him, then I will do this for you. So this bargaining also, this emotion, this feeling also, we go through when we are going through these stages of grief. Then the fourth one is depression. We are very sad. We don't feel like talking. We don't feel like eating. We are just confined to ourselves, to our bed. We don't want to talk to anybody. That is the fourth stage of grief that we go through. That is the depression or the sadness. Then comes the last stage. That is the stage of acceptance and healing. When we start accepting everything, that whatever is happening, whatever, it is for our greater good, it is something that had to happen because the soul is eternal. And the person who has just transitioned is going to be happy wherever he or she is. When we start accepting that void, because to tell you the truth, we do not grieve the death of a person. We always grieve the incompleteness of that person, of our lives. We feel incomplete, we feel a void, we feel an emptiness. That is what we are scared about. We do not grieve the absence of a person, we grieve the incompleteness of the life. We grieve the void of that, void that has been created by the absence of that person. So when we start accepting that absence also, when we start accepting everything, then is the time when we start healing. That is the time when the grief actually starts ebbing away. To tell you the truth, friends, grief is a process. Please do not feel that it is a task. It is a process, because you have to go through that process. Grief is not a task. It is not a staircase. It is a roller coaster ride, because constantly our emotions will go up and down, up and down. If you will feel that, okay, it is going to be low and then it's going to be okay, no. We'll just keep doing that like this as far as the grief is concerned. So, to tell you the truth, when we talk about grief, it is very, very, very important for all of us to understand that when we are going through this process, we have to see and we have to feel that everybody has a free will. Everybody has their own way of dealing with the grief. When we talk about grief, you we do not have to we do not we cannot and we should not let anybody tell us or say that, okay, Sharu, this is the time for you to move on, or this is the time for you to get over it. No, these are your feelings, absolutely. And you can take as much as time you want to complete this process without any embarrassment, without any judgment. This is what grief is. Because grief is a process for everybody, because it's an individuated process. You cannot compare your process with anybody. Nobody can compare their own selves with others. Now, when we talk about the myths, there are certain myths that are there as far as the grief is concerned. The first myth is that the pain will go away if we ignore it. So, my dear friends, it is very important for you to understand the pain does not go away if we start ignoring it. We need to accept and we need to acknowledge the pain, and we need to accept it. Then only the healing takes place. Because we usually say that, no, okay, what we will do is we try to ignore it by keeping ourselves busy, either in our work or outside, or we start seeking the comfort outside ourselves. So that gives a feeling that, okay, now we are going to ignore it, so it is going to be there in the subconscious and we will not be reminded of that. So I'm sorry to say that, friends, it is going to rebound. It will come to you in some way or the other. So please do not ignore, acknowledge that pain, which is very important. Then the second thing is that the myths, again, which is attached to grief, is it is very important to be strong in the face of loss. This is especially for those people who feel, you know, they are strong, very strong, and the other people should not see their vulnerabilities. Especially those people who want to set an example in front of the other people. They are the ones who are the most vulnerable, but they don't want to show their vulnerability to the others, because they're scared that if people see that I'm vulnerable, they will not accept my vulnerability. Especially if you see the royal families, if there is any death over there, they don't mourn much. They wear the glasses, they don't show the tears to the other people. because they want to show everybody that we are strong, because they want to set an example in front of the other people that yes, we are strong, so can you. But no, even the strongest are the people who actually need the hands, the shoulder to lean on. And that is the reason why I always say that please, please cry as much as you can. That is fine, because that is another myth that is attached to grief, that, you know, if you cry, then only means that you're grieving. No, crying is also one of the responses that we have towards grieving, but it is not the only one, because everybody cannot cry, everybody cannot express through crying. Crying can be one of the reasons, but one of the responses, but it is not the response. So please do not think that if the person is sitting there not crying doesn't mean that person is not grieving. Everybody has their own way of grieving. In fact, in the animals, the grieving process is different, completely different. They understand everything. They understand everything. They grieve for a little while and then they detach themselves, which is something which we as human beings should always, always, you know, learn from the animal kingdom. It's not that they don't have feelings or they don't have emotions. They do have emotions, but the only thing is that they detach themselves. They grieve for a period, for a period of time. They grieve. I've seen, you know, a friend's place, and there were two dogs. One of them, you know, was not there. One of them left the body, vacated the body, and the other one, who was the twin, you know, and the other one was also in a devastated state. But for some time, that dog grieved in her own way. She grieved a lot. She grieved a lot. But after that, after a few days, she was absolutely fine, because then she detached herself from that death, because she knew that, yes, he had, you know, taken care of the sole purpose. And now I also have to move on, and he also has to move on. This is something that we need to learn from the animal kingdom, because this understanding they have. Then another myth that is attached to it is moving on with your life means, you know, you're forgetting. So some people say that, oh my God, if we move on, are we forgetting that person? No, we should not. We have to stick to the past and we have to stick to that. No. When we talk about moving on means that you have accepted your loss. But it is not as same as forgetting. It just means that you're taking all the beautiful memories with you, and that person has become a very important part of you. And then you will go along, and that person will go along with you. His memories or her memories are going to be there with you all along till you die, till you vacate your body. So this is what the grief is all about. So I hope I have given you a little bit of understanding of grief, because this is how I have, uh, you know, taken care of my grievances. I've taken care of my grief when the time was, when the time was for me to grieve. And this is how I also tell people, because we also have to understand that we need to be gentle with ourselves. We have to be gentle with the other person who's going through, because we are very tender at that time. When we are going through a grief, we are very tender. We are just like small children. We become like children, because we can be easily hurt at that time when we are grieving. So we have to be very tender at that time. And after that, once we are back on the feet, then we can share the hardest truth of our lives to that person who is grieving, but not before that. Before that, you have to be gentle with that person. Or if you're grieving, then you have to be gentle with yourself also. You have to treat yourself like a child, a small child who has lost a toy, the favorite toy. And you have to keep making yourself understand, and you have to keep supporting yourself. You have to keep loving yourself, that it's okay. It's okay. So this was about grief. So before we dwell into a very powerful meditation that is about grief. And if there is any question anybody wants to say, you're most welcome. Um, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to understand this question properly. Okay, I'll come back to this question, but I'm not able to properly understand what this question is, which is being written by Bindu from YouTube. Okay. Yes, yes, Madhaviji, yes.
Thank you so much, Sharo. The wonderful way of really explaining about the grief. Really, oh, I would have learned it before. I wouldn't have cried or wept. Held so much all these years because I lost my pets, I lost my dad, I lost my mom, I lost so many things actually. To be
Mm,
frank, I don't know how to overcome, but it was like, oh, really a lot of pain. You're right that if we lost a job, also it's a lot of pain, and if we lose our pets or maybe the family members, it's like the hell. And
yes.
especially like me, if you say, like, my father was the best, I would say. And then
Mm,
I never thought that I would get any other man, and I still my hold my father's name. So I'm really, but I overcame. I overcame, like, but I always have one question in my mind, always, like, there are some griefs which is, even though we try, even though we
mm,
convince ourselves, even though we
mm,
do a lot many practices, even though the time heals us, yeah, sometimes after 7 or 10 years of time, but still there is somewhere in the corner of the heart, or somewhere in the corner, there's always like a pain.
mm,
you know how do we
mm-hmm.
come out of that pain? You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
like, yes, because
Okay.
you're right, like, uh, we miss those people because we were attached, and we were very much in love with them, and
Mm,
we lose them because we are not in contact with them, and we know a lot that they are somewhere in the world or in the cosmic energies, and we can forget. But there are somewhere in the corner, even if we
yes.
try to forget, and even if the time healed us already, but
Mm,
there is always a pinch or somewhere in the corner, deep corner, that grief and that pain,
mm.
and how to overcome that.
Okay, so Madhviji, as I said earlier also, grieving is a process. It might take months, it might take years, it might take, decades, and sometimes it happens that it might take incarnations together. So, for example, if we are grieving so much, we are attached to that person so much that we are not able to come out of that grieving, what happens? We will take those imprints with us to the other incarnation, and that feeling of grief, sadness, loneliness is going to be there with us in the next incarnation, which we have to deal with in the next incarnation. So it is not necessary. I'm not saying, I'm not forcing you that, oh my god, you have to hasten the process of grieving, because if you take the imprints, then there is another karmic baggage that is there. What I'm trying to tell you is, you have to be gentle with yourself, give yourself time, let just be go with the flow as far as this process is concerned. If it is going to take time, it's okay, let it be towards the next incarnation, that is fine, that is absolutely okay. But you cannot hurry up, because what happens is, when we start hurrying up the process, it is somewhere there in our subconscious which keeps erupting. It does not get healed completely and properly. In order to make a particular loss healed, we have to give that time, no matter how much it means. Because through this process, we are also learning patience, we are also learning compassion, we are learning other virtues which we are supposed to learn in the incarnations. So, Madhviji, you have to be really, really very patient and gentle with yourself. Don't give yourself a timeline. Even if it has to go to other incarnation, the next incarnation, probably it might happen that way also. That is okay.
Thank you so much, Charu. Yes, I agree with that. Yes. I just let it go, let it get healed, let
Yes.
it take its own
Yes.
time. Okay. I'll
Yes.
not even put it. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you
Uh,
so much. It was
thank you.
always there in my that how could I answer? I mean, how could I question this, or how could I to whom should I ask this? Because there's so much of pain, which some
Mm,
pains it's easy to overcome, like the
absolutely.
wounds or like the disease or a job. Maybe if we lose a job, then we get another good job, then we forget about the old one. But there are
Yes.
some affections or some people with we really cannot replace with anyone, or
Absolutely.
maybe those that kind of a missing or that kind of a pain is so hard sometimes. Yeah, you're right. Now from today on, okay, let it take whatever time it takes,
Yes.
and then I'm really happy. Like for
Yes.
example,
Yes.
my
Yes.
dog also, we never had any more the pets because the dog was so much with us, like 8 to 10 years, and then after that we decided not to have the pets anymore. But
Mm,
later on, the time healed us,
yes.
to get the pets again in our lives, because that pain has given us so badly that we
Mm,
decided no more pets.
mm,
But we accepted again, like we got again, like we are accepting that process of like losing and getting. And
mm,
yeah, yes, I'll do that.
absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for clarification.
Thank you, Madhviji. So let's get on to the meditation now. I'll take the questions after the meditation once you have done you've gone through this process. So if you want to drink water, please drink water. Please take out your spectacles. You want to lie down, you want to sit on a chair, wherever you are comfortable with. So you can do that. I'm going to also share a music, which is a very simple and very soft music that is going to be there. You want to listen to that is fine. You don't want to, that is also fine, absolutely with me. But please be with my words. Please be with me this time, because the words are going to be really very important. So today I would request all of you not to drift away anywhere else, but to be with me with my words, because that is something that is going to heal you today. So please be with me. I am assisting you in a grieving process for loss of a loved one. As this is a sensitive topic, my goal is only to make it useful, helpful, and healing. Above all, my intention is to be respectful in guiding you through this process. In this session, I do not advocate any beliefs and hope this will help when and where you need it. As you settle in, just start to breathe and feel the breath. Just breathe in and breathe out. Just feel that you're here and now in this life. Just focus on your heartbeat, beating in your chest. Just relax. Acknowledge your breath, your body, and allow your heart to open. Just feel your life force all throughout your body, your face, your feeling with this breath, with each inhale and exhale. Just allow your neck to loosen. Let go of any restrictions. If at any point you feel the urge to let go of words or tears, know that this is the time. Just let go even a little that allows you to be in this moment. Perhaps give yourself permission to loosen all the tension in your neck and release any burden you feel in your shoulders. Allow yourself to accept support and trust, and know that you're supported even when you cannot see it. You're always loved and supported. Just let go of any burden in your back and allow yourself to release the load. You're strong and you're more powerful than you can ever imagine. As you support others in your life, allow yourself to be supported. Allow your legs to relax as your back releases, as you let go of the weight. Allow your body to sink back. Just take a moment to meet and greet each part of you. Just take a moment to notice what you feel in your body. Is there any particular weight, any tightness or blockage? Breathe into this as much as you wish, releasing whatever comes up. My words are just a part of much bigger support and love out there. As you breathe into this, there may be discomfort, tension, stress, but realize that the grief is no more. All emotions are no more. Grief is a powerful process that needs support to move along and to transform over time. And as I say every word with respect, I do not know the exact relationship with you and your loved one. So as we go through this process, Some phrases may resonate with you and some may not, and you will simply filter and focus in only images, feelings, words, and emotions that resonate for you. The process is not linear or straightforward, but with the right support, you can get through this. And you will come through this with even greater learning, even greater strength. I do not know what has happened and what you're feeling right now, but what is common to all of us, to those who have truly lived, is that we will all be united at some point, feeling the pain of the loss of the loved one. We will feel that in different ways, in our own way, in our own timeline, as we are all unique. Sometimes you might feel pressurized. Sometimes we will box up our emotions. But grief has its own way of processing. It may be of some help to know that if we have lived, truly lived, then we would experience this unconditional love towards each other. Throughout the world, who has truly lived, who has undoubtedly suffered a loss, will be united by the highest level of unconditional love. Grief is one of those emotions that reminds us that we do not have always control over our lives, but at the same time, we are not powerless. Grief in its sadness and solitude can also be so alive that it reminds us of the power of the love it represents. Grief in itself is a representation of the love that was between you two. And as you breathe in and out, feel that you have a shared breath with your loved one, that you feel is a combination of not just you, but the both of you. Breathe in deeper to whatever you're feeling. Just allow yourself to open up a little again. Just release whatever is asking to be expressed. And as you exhale and release a sigh, just feel a little. Feel your heart, even if it's aching, as your heart is still supporting your life. Just feel your feelings right now. And as you get more in touch with your belief and your body sensation, bring your attention to your emotions. What do you feel right now? Just breathe in and breathe out. Just notice your emotions that are flowing like currents. Allow yourself to feel what is, whether angry or sad or furious or feeling betrayed by life, God, universe, or others. Or whether you feel depressed, lost, overwhelmed, or exhausted. Grief is a process that can't be a shortcut, but faith is by your side, encouraging you on. Emotions are strong, and sometimes they hit you hard like waves crashing against the heart. But some point the tide will calm. Storms never last. The rain will stop, and the sun will be there behind the clouds of the stormiest day. So cry if you feel. Just let it go. And if you feel angry, it is often a reaction, even though the world may not seem to make sense. With time, you can look back. You can see the meaning that is found only with distance and time. And if you feel tired or overwhelmed, let go of this excess of responsibility. It can be a challenge to ask for help. There might be a time when you feel vulnerable, but you can ask for help. It is okay to ask for what you need. Just take time to nourish your life and yourself. And in whatever way, whatever space you can, do whatever is right to rebalance. Sooner or later, we all feel and we all lose something or someone. But these words respect your own unique experience. Our vulnerability binds us and brings us closer together. Whatever you're feeling will just ebb and flow. The hardest days will pass and calmer days will come. And at some point, at some other day, you will be able to see this vulnerability and from it find strength to get up. As any tears that you cry go into an ocean that we all share, and maybe as you realize that we all share this loss, as you find this energy to get up, or maybe not today, as you walk along the street, you may pass someone who is also experiencing the loss of a loved one, and this does not diminish your loss or invalidate your feeling. It is simply a reminder that you're not alone in this experience. Just breathe into this realization that you are supported. And as you take away the love and support, and as you allow the realization that life always means to love and lose, allow the legacy of this love to take root in your heart. Their light lives on in you. Just let this light shine just as bright for you to be, even more. And now it is time to slowly bring your awareness back to the room, bringing with you the healing experience. Now you can come back and start your journeys again with a beautiful smile on your face. Welcome back, dear friends.
Hello, Sharu.
Hello.
Yes, Sharu.
Hi.
A wonderful, wonderful session and a very, very beautiful, beautiful meditation.
Yeah.
Each and every word. It's very much directly going to the heart, and it is bringing a lot of healing. So I thank you so much, Sharu. Thank you
Thank you
for
so
this.
much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, Sharuji. It was really beautiful. It touched
Thank
the heart. So thank you for giving this experience. Really
thank you.
appreciate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Archana ji. Yes.
Hi, Shreya. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I apologize. I got to join a little bit late. So I think the topic was how to cope up with the grief, right? If I'm not mistaken. Sharu?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So what I mean to say is that, like, we try. I'm not sure if this question has been asked by someone else, but it just came into my mind that we try to cope up. We follow these tactics. We follow this and that advice from all the masters, or from this book, or from so and so for so many various resources, and you're most of the time you're able to cope up with it. You're able to come out. But what if it happens again and again with the same people, with the same set of people? What can you do in such a case? Like, okay, we excuse ourselves or them, thinking that, okay, it's we are responsible for whatever we are going through, like, as per what we read from Soul Plan and this and that, or let go or acceptance, fact, various things. But and we feel fine, we feel good, everything feels a little bit fine between us. I mean, that particular relationship, and that particular person and me. But if it happens again and again, if you feel a little bit like, sad, and it's like a matter of again and again. So how do you deal with that kind of situation?
See, when we talk about the relationship or a break in a relationship, or we talk about the toxicity in a relationship, you need to,
Mm-hmm.
as a person, as a human being, you need to decide for your own self that whether you want to be in that toxic relationship or not. Because unless and until this unless and until you understand that you need to be healed because of this relationship, and you think that it is not being healed, and you are being given pain again and again, time and again, by the same person in the same situation, the situation is coming back to you, so that means it is becoming toxic for you. Then you have to sit honestly with yourself, and you have to ask yourself, then what is it that I want? Do I need to be in this relationship, or do I need to distance myself a little bit from this person or a relationship? See, you at that time, you have to be honest. You can't be biased at that time. You have to be truly, truly honest with yourself when we talk about the relationships or a break in a relationship, right?
uh, but you cannot break some relationships, right? I mean, you
See, it
cannot
all,
sever some relationships, like whether it's with parent or whether it's from husband.
but
So
then
you
you
just
have to
cannot.
detach. Then you have to detach. You have to start detaching yourself from the situations. For example, when I knew that there was certain toxicity in my relationship, be it with my uh, you know um, my in-laws side, or by anybody whosoever was there in my family, if there was a toxicity, I started detaching myself. I did not want to be into that drama. I did not want to be pulled into that drama, because I knew that if I do that, then this toxicity is going to increase, and it will eventually is going to hurt me. So if there used to be anything that used to happen between me and somebody else, or some other individual, my choice was to make peace with myself. Not I used to just go out of that situation. Even if the person was shouting and yelling at me, I used to just go out. And then I used to then I used to sit with that person once I was at peace with myself, and when the other person was at peace with the and when the person was ready, and if the person was ready to talk to me. But if the toxicity is too much, way too much, because this is how I counsel the people who come for the relationship problems, because angels never say that, you just strike the chords with each other, because the husband and wife, they come on this earth for a purpose, with a reason, with so much of learning. So they always tell me that, give another chance to them. And then also, again, if they are not able to deal with it, then that is the choice of those two people to do what they want to do. So if it is too toxic, Archana, then you have to sit honestly with yourself and see and ask, what do you want to do with it? I used to detach myself, seriously, and it really worked. When I started detaching myself from all this, I used to just go away from that situation, because I knew that, okay, now the situation is brimming up, where there will be some fight or something will happen, the argument is going to happen. I used to detach myself. Used to just go, even if the other person used to feel that, oh my god, she is like, you can say, brash,
Ruthless,
and she's like, my
ruthless.
god, yeah, ruthless, she just went off. But yeah, this was something that I wanted to do for myself and for the other person's sake, so that, there is peace between us. Because if I also start arguing, then where will it this argument go? There will be no peace in anyone's mind. But right now, by making that choice, at least I was at peace with myself. I don't know about the other person, but I was at peace. But when I trust me, Archana, when I started detaching myself from the situations, from the things that were toxic, trust me, when I started changing the vibrations, those people also started thinking about me in a different way, more peaceful way. So it works. But if you feel that, nay, no, now I'm not going to accept anything, I cannot do it, I cannot live another minute with this person, then you have to sit and decide what you have to do. Because you cannot be in the toxicity always, because that is also the lesson we have to learn, right?
Yeah, but sometimes it so happens that the opposite person doesn't realize that they're hurting someone. It's like they don't even realize, maybe that we are very sensitive, as the receiving on the receiving end, might be we are very sensitive, and that person might not be, even at the, even the remotest idea, they wouldn't be having the remotest idea that they are, hurting.
Yes,
So it can
absolutely.
happen that, right? So
Yes, absolutely.
they're unaware about that thing,
Yes,
and they're causing
absolutely.
doing again and again, maybe sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
how do we know, for especially, okay, leave it everyone else, but with parent, like, okay, with everyone else, there's a, okay, if it reaches its height, if the, we just can't take it anymore, we can, okay, take decision, or we can talk, or whatever, xyz. But when it comes to parents, so you cannot do that, right? uh, I don't know what kind of situation, like, I mean, how to deal when it's the parents themselves.
Mm.
And I'm not blaming, it might be like, they're unaware that they're doing it.
See, Archana, you have to make yourself understand one thing, that whenever we are here on this earth, loving the other person is a different thing, but taking care of your own self esteem and self worth is very important as well. If the others are not understanding you, then you have to give them a little bit of space there. You have to just let them be, let them go. You cannot force them into anything. You cannot, because that is their free will, that is their choice not to do anything about it. They are, because they feel, see, everybody has their own perspective, everybody has their own truths. According to them, whatever they are doing is right, and according to you, it is wrong. But according to them, whatever you are doing is wrong, right?
Yeah,
So
that's a
everybody's,
subjective term. Yeah.
yeah, so everybody's definition of right and wrong is completely different. It's all about perspective. The only thing that we need to do is that we have to keep our self esteem and self worth intact with us, which is also a learning process. And we cannot let anybody just walk over us all the time. So if this is something that is happening, then you have to give some space to those people. Try to detach yourself from them, okay, for some time. Just give them space. Just give a gap to yourself, a space to yourself. It is not for anybody else, but for yourself. Maybe they might think that, oh my God, she's like, you know, she doesn't care. So yeah, for some time I want to care about myself. I've been caring about you, but now I want to take care of myself as well. Because if I take care of myself, don't, then only will I be able to take care of you. Change. When we talk about change, change is difficult. Change is something that nobody wants to accept. And when they will see a change in you, it will not be easy for them to digest that change. But then change also is good if we see it from the higher perspective. So Archana, you need to change yourself. They don't have to change. You have to change your perspective, your actions, your
They have
thoughts.
never changed, Sharu. It's me who has been changing, you know, like continuously, years by years, and I'm changing, getting tired of changing. But things continue. Uh, they just don't realize.
The realization, you cannot just
Ah, yeah, I cannot. It's not
force
in my
anybody,
hands.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it is not
understand
in.
that.
What you can do is, you can just detach yourself and just take a break for a while from these people, and just think honestly, what is it that you want to do next? That is what I can tell you right now. Okay,
Sure, sure. Thank you.
just take care of yourself, Archana. Yeah. Yes, Acharya ji. Ji, Acharya ji. Yes, you want to say something? Okay. Okay.
Sharu,
Yes.
we have a question from Bindu from
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. She had rewritten again that she meant, before we incarnate, we design and come, but after coming, we have free will. And what happens to the karma which we have designed before birth and keep changing according to free will?
Keeps changing, but as far as the karma is concerned, whatever baggage that you have brought, it will also start changing with your free will also. In the sense, what I'm trying to say is, the karma is going to be the same. Probably the people, the situations might differ, because you change your choice. For example, you made a choice to be with choice A as a husband. But now, as soon as you came here on this earth, you decided that no, I don't want to be with that person. I want to be with the choice B. So now the question is, what about the karmic baggages? So the karmic baggages are going to be the same, but the only thing is that the people are going to be different, the situations are going to be different, the challenges are going to be different, but the karmic baggage, whatever you have to learn from that person or from the other person, it is going to be the same. The karma does not get dissolved at all with the free will. The karma is still there. The only change is with the people, situations, and the probably the geographical location. So these are the changes that are going to take place, nothing else. Yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yep. Yes, yes, Sharu.
Okay. Okay, so anybody else wants to say or share anything? You're most
Yes,
welcome.
this is Meeta, and I want to say to Archana ji that,
Uh,
that
I cannot hear you. Can you be
oh,
a
okay.
little louder, please?
I just want to share. I just want to say to Archana ji that I also came from a dysfunctional family. My childhood, and then the way she was talking and describing, I was also like that. And then, late 2019, there was like a moment where I just feel the way you are talking, that you cannot change other and you are giving. So it's kind of like free yourself when you think that way. And the meditation, and then I actually go through, will not say depression, but lost my life of purpose of my life. And so like thinking like, well, I am caring and giving person, but I am experiencing opposite. So what is universe telling me? Opposite thing to learn, and then there is no answer. So anyway, the last time that I came into the meditation, because my father passed away, and I started doing this meditation for last 3 months, and I just have this experience that whatever the question I have for so long, there automatically I am just having this answer. Like today, I have this answer, a question for a long time, which Archanaji was asking, and you answered that. So I will say that I'm going through a same thing Archanaji was going now. So this is just, I think, the lifelong process, whole whole life maybe, or maybe next life, don't know, but we must keep going. So that is this. I
Yes.
just want to say that, to
Thank you,
just to share
Mitaji.
that she's not alone. I am also there, still is. So yes, thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you, Mitaji. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience and your beautiful words. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. That she's not alone actually.
Yes. Yes. We all are here
Mhm.
with you, Archana.
You feel like your own people, your community, or
Yes.
your sister, or like that. So thank you.
Thank you, Mitaji. So, before we wind up the session, there was one quote that I want to share with all of you, which is very profound, which says that when you are born, mm, people love you. When you die, people love you. And in between, nothing happens. Please think about it, because when the person is gone, we always keep thinking about the beautiful memories, or we keep thinking about that void, that emptiness that we feel when the person is gone. Why not we give that person that love when that person is alive? Why can't we be in the present moment and give our love and affection and compassion and our understanding to that person, when that person is still in our lives? Because we have to die. Everybody has to die. Everybody has to leave this physical world. But till that time, till we die, can we not just make an effort to love that person when that person is alive, or love ourselves till we die? So please think about this quote, think about this, and I'm sure that you are going to love your loved ones so much more that you can ever think about. So anybody else wants to say anything?
Thank you so much, Charu. This is the last wonderful quote, like what you said, that just love and be in that moment, really. Oh, I love you so much.
I love
I
you
just
too.
want to say.
I love you too much.
Oh, really. That's a really wonderful quote. And yes, we have to give the time and be present, fight and love and, do everything when we are alive instead of just recollecting or just
Yes,
I don't know.
yes.
Yes, you're right. Absolutely. That's why I usually never say this word
Thank you.
because in Germany it is like a women saying it is like, no, Madhvi, please. They also don't hold their hands. Like,
Mhm.
oh, it's okay. Like I'm a like little shy person, but still now I don't feel like shy anymore.
Yeah,
Come on.
say
I
it.
really love you so much.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
thank you. I do too.
Boldly,
Yes,
boldly. I say
yes,
that I'll open it also. I really love
yes.